Hey, I'm Aeon.
And I'm the Lioness.
And you're listening to Box Number 512 Podcast.
Grown Black Trans Woman Talk. Changing your world one conversation at a time.
The show begins now.
You gotta see my unique entirety. That's what I want. That's what I need. Until the day comes, I keep on working on me. Prince Charming, we all know lives in fairy tales. What I need is a man determined not to fail. Give me a king who knows how to rule his domain. His heart will be the place I'll always remain. Who would never stray? Females tried to test him, but he won't look their way.
Welcome back to another installment of Box Number 512 Podcast, Grown Black Trans Woman Talk. I am Aeon.
And I'm the Lioness.
The song that you just heard is a snippet from Neverending Nina, one of our sisters, her song For That One. Make sure you guys go download that on iTunes, listen to it, stream it on Spotify. The music video is on YouTube. And support one of our sisters making art and making songs about our experiences that sound great. That sounded amazing.
It did. Sis, let me tell you, I'm just so happy that we live in a world where artists like Neverending Nina and T.S. Kendra and all these other wonderful trans artists are able to, share their gift with the world. And because of the decentralizing of media and these new platforms, I just love how people can get it out there, and it's up to us to really get behind our artists. So shout out to Neverending Nina. We thank you for your gift.
Right. So I guess that kind of goes into my update. So on Friday, I was able to virtually attend the Winter Gala hosted by the Transgender District, as well as the House of Tulip. It was a fabulous event. It was hosted by our sister, our big sister and mentor, Diamond Styles of the Marsha's Plate podcast, as well as T.S. Madison. It was such a good event. It was so well produced. And I'm a girl that's all about the marketing and the rollout, and like visually it looked nice. It was fun. They had trans and queer artists that were performing. They also had Lion Babe, who I like their music. Dawn Rashard performed. There were a lot of like trans celebrities that came and supported, but the mayor of San Francisco, who's the first Black woman mayor ever, came and made an appearance, as well as the first Black woman mayor of New Orleans came and said a few words. And it was such boss moves in our community. And I'm so proud of my sister Aria Saeed of the Transgender District, as well as my sisters Mariah Moore and Milan Nicole Sherry. And I know it was more people that helped, but those ladies are the ones that are the face of these organizations. So I just want to give a shout out to them. It was a fabulous event. The event, you could still watch it on Facebook and YouTube. We will include the link to the event in the show. I think they raised about like $40,000 to $50,000 for the event. Hopefully, if they do another one next year, they can raise more money and we can platform more trans artists in the community. But shout out to everybody that was involved. It was a good event. That's why I learned about Neverending Nina and her song, because she was a featured performer at the event. And it was my first virtual gala, honey, and I had a ball. I really didn't do much this weekend. I just was home and relaxed. I had to work. The past couple of weekends, I've been having to work on the weekends because we're just trying to do a lot to try to wind down before our office is closed for the holiday. So we're just trying to wind down, and I have a lot of litigation coming up that is intense. So, and when you get paid salary, that just means that you're available whenever they need you. So they needed me on these past weekends, and they also need me this weekend. So it's a lot of work, but I'm very proud of the work I'm doing. I still have
Well, I was gonna say this. Now I'm actually curious, just for me, like, what is some of the work you do?
Well, just generally, we have a lot of litigation around affirmative action in the college space. And we have a lot of ongoing like lawsuits that are happening or lawsuits that we're anticipating. So it's a lot of like collaboration across organizations. It's a lot of managing clients and talking to them. So it's a lot of stuff behind just being in court with a suit on, and it's a lot of preparation. That's why I have to work a lot on weekends, but you know it's in the news. Stuff is happening. It's some stuff that obviously I can't talk about, but hopefully in the new year it will become public and I can talk about it regarding my job and different cases that I'm working on. But it's a lot going on, and in a nutshell, it's a lot of white people and white organizations that want to maintain racism, and they are organized, and the organizations themselves are wealthy. Like, just the way that they're able to raise money to bring a lot of these cases is crazy. But thank God for the organizations like the one that I work at that are willing to step up to the plate and push back against a lot of these things. But yeah, it's a lot of work in the higher education space that I'm doing.
Yes, yes. Well, for me, I guess my week, I mean, I'm very excited that you had that wonderful week, sis. I would think I was going to participate in the gala thing, and then I had some stuff come up on my end. But shout out to Diamond and shout out to TS Madison, two of some of my very favorite trans content creators out there right now together. I bet that was an amazing event. For me though, this week it's been pretty low key, just putting out like, everybody knows being a homeowner comes with its thing. So just been kind of like dealing with some like home repair type stuff, and just kind of holding it in the road in COVID. Lately I've been really able to be an advocate for not an advocate, I will say maybe more of like the word would be a confidant for my friends recently. I have a lot of friends going through a lot of very complicated issues around relationships, around loss, around loneliness, around transitioning. And as I age, I'm just starting to realize that I really, really play a therapeutic role in my friendships. And this week has been very, very heavy for me, just processing some of the things that my people are going through. But it's also reminding me that I need to take time to clear my own psyche. You can take on other people's stuff and then get clouded. So this year has been very rough emotionally on a lot of people, I think. And I can't wait for it to be over. But I think because it's so negatively impacting on people, particularly folks in my community, there are a lot of folks right now that don't have a lot of people to talk to. There are a lot of folks that are alone. And so for those of you right now coming into the holiday that listen to our podcast, we want to acknowledge you. I am a girl that also is not a holiday girl. While I have my moments of nostalgia where I wanted to see my mom earlier this year, by and large, like a lot of trans folk, the holidays for me is a very triggering time of year that brings up a lot of feelings of inadequacy. There's a lot of denials that have been associated with this holidays, a lot of disappointments, and just acknowledging those that may be feeling that in this season. I don't want to be so chipper and upbeat and sharing my story in life that I'm not really being honest that I still have stickiness. There's a residue we all carry. And so shout out to everyone that's listening to this podcast right now, right before Christmas. I acknowledge that this is a difficult time. And even if you're no longer a participant in the Christian part of the holiday, it still kind of feels weird to not necessarily have family to go to at a time when everyone else is coming together. And particularly with COVID right now, I know everyone is not being able to come together in the way that they want to. So I know that that contributes to loneliness, again, particularly in our community where we're often alone. So I love each and every one of you. And the Lioness is, my heart is with you. My week was fine. And I hope that my holidays and the New Year's is fine as well. Sis, before we go any further, though, I do want to ask you, just really because I'm curious, what are your New Year's resolutions? Because isn't this the last episode before New Year?
It is. I was actually just going to bring that up. This is going to be like our last recorded episode before 2021. I think my main resolution, like my main thing this year, is to keep on my like health journey. So I'm 2 weeks into like my like keto or diet or just like my low carb, no like really low sugar diet. So I really want to make my health like more of a priority in a more radical way than I've ever had before. So that's one of my main resolutions, and it's not necessarily to quote unquote lose health. I just want to be healthier and to try to avoid some conditions if I can avoid them, and just make better choices and train my body to like different things. And bitch, I'm not gonna lie,
excuse me guys,
cutting out juice has been really hard for me, because if you're a girl that's close to me, you know my weakness is juice, like cranberry juice, fruit. And I think for me, it's because it's so nostalgic for me, because it takes me back to a time when I was a child and I was kid. I just love juice. Like, I don't like sodas, but I love juice. But juice has a lot of sugar in it. Yeah. And, we don't want diabetes. We don't want hypertension and blood pressure and things like that. So it's been real hard. And then I've had to give up chips and stuff like that. And bitch, like every night at like 10 o'clock, bitch, I'll crave like some Lay's salt and vinegar chips, bitch. Like I don't even want to eat the chips. I just want to have the blue bag in my bed with me, bitch. But yeah, so my goal is really to just implement some new food habits, not eating after 8, giving my body enough time to really, process what I've ate for dinner, so I can, sleep lighter, wake up like cunt, like I do. And because I want to be here for a long time. Like, to be honest, this is the year, like, this is like the first time ever that like I can envision a future for myself, like as the elderly person. Like I can, and usually like depression and suicidal ideations kind of can be like a cloud for you, or you can just be in so much pain where you just don't want to be here, or you can't see it. And now, and this is not to say that like depression and stuff like that will never come up again, or it hasn't come up. Because no shade, girl, I was depressed like after we came off Thanksgiving break, because I still felt like it literally took me like an additional week to get back into the swing of things. And because I couldn't snap back fast, I was kind of low-key depressed about it. But it's even through in your depression, like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And like, bitch, I want to be here. I want to be as healthy as I can be. Whether I'm partner or not, like, bitch, I still want to be here. Like, I still feel like I have things to offer to the world. So yeah, like, just changing my diet. That's like one of my main resolutions. Getting deeper. I'm happy that me and my mom are speaking again on a regular basis, and that I talk to her. Now it's kind of weird hearing her call me Brianna, because at first I was like, bitch, is a shade, but like, now I'm comfortable, and it's like we picked up, like we never like fell off or had a break. And I'm happy for her. I'm blessed that she is still here and still kicking, and that I can pick up the phone and call her and check on her. I just bought her some stuff for Christmas, and it came in the mail, so I'm happy that she got her things. And yeah, like 2021 is Yeah, I have a lot in store in 2021, so I'll be moving out of DC. Like I just have a lot going on, but I just want physically, I want my physical health to just be the best that it's ever been in 2021, and it's not linked to like a size or like a weight. It's just what I'm eating, how I'm moving, and just like how I'm feeling. What about you?
So my for the new year, I had so many plans this year to expand my nonprofit. I wanted to get into providing more direct services and having more groups with my community. So for those of you who don't know, I know for our followers, you already know this. I am the executive director of TILT, which stands for Trans Individuals Living Their Truth Incorporated. And very fortunately, this year we were able to get funding. However, a lot of the way that I'm able to apply that funding has been put on hold because the events and things that I wanted to host, just because of this, a lot of this year has been shut down. This just wasn't the year, and so next year I plan to regroup. Um, I know I reground myself. I know I'm not alone in that. I know a lot of us had plans this year that got derailed, honey, but we got to get it going for those of us that are creators, for those of us that are um trying to move and hustle, business owners, entrepreneurs. I mean, yes, this was one of the worst years for us, but we got to hustle through it. And for me, that's what my next year is going to be about. I also want to figure out what my career path is going to look like. I am having a pool now. What I talked about in my initial intro about my week, I talked about my how I provide that therapeutic role for a lot of people and have done so my entire life. And I've always had a deep appreciation for mental health. And so I'm looking at what that may look like next year as far as maybe becoming a therapist and or life coach. What that process looked like, looking at what that certification would look like, looking like what schools, if needed, that will look like. Because I do want to grow. And I think as long as you're alive, you can grow and expand as a person. And I had a very negative experience a while back in law school that I don't even think I'm even ready to talk too much about. But it was the epitome of the nightmare that you experience as a trans person. And as a result of that experience, I felt very skittish about schooling, the investment, the amount of money that I borrowed, all of that. So if I can find an alternative way, that's my goal next year, to find an alternative way to meet the goal of trying to help people and be certified to be able to assist people with their traumas and their issues that they go through in their life, but while not getting a bunch of loans. So next year is about fundraising or game planning for what will be my next probably educational or career endeavor. So yeah, that's next year for me.
Yes, girl. I'm happy for you that you're moving in that direction. And I guess before we like, how did COVID-19 and this pandemic, like, do you feel like it's changed you, or how do you feel like it's like, because this has been like a earth-shattering year for everybody, like it's literally changed the world. So how do you feel like you've changed?
Oh my gosh, yes, I feel like it has definitely changed me. So for those of us that go through life thinking that we can't be touched by certain things in life because we live, I stay out of trouble. I keep my nose clean. I don't break laws. I pay my taxes, and you think that that makes you exempt from wild shit happening. So 2020 also, with the police brutality and the protesting and the social unrest, coupled with the COVID and all of this stuff, it has really made me understand that we are all one people, and that the pain, suffering, anger, even rage, even racism that another group has for me is not something that I can say, you just keep that over there and not expect that it's going to affect me. 2020 shows me that racism affects policies that affect how Black people get tested, treated, and cared for in medical facilities. And so now with COVID, I'm seeing so many of my people that I know in my beloved family dying. And it is sad. So 2020 has taught me that I gotta stay woke. I can never be complacent. But what it's also taught me is to cherish relationships, to know that at any time, this disease is now, for at least in the very recent time, has become the number one killer of Americans, even beyond heart disease. And when we really, really sink down and think about 3,000 people dying just the other day, it makes you really, really think about all you could lose and all of the people that you could be being kind to. Which is why which is why I believe that 2020 taught me that I have to learn to forgive. I have to learn to mend. I also have to learn to let go, and I have to learn to deepen in my prayer life. I know that I've been doing a lot of praying this year. I know that I've been really touching into myself as a spirit woman. I've been channeling into my ancestral roots and my heritage that are non-traditional and not necessarily Christian, and that has been powerful for me. Really, just kind of not limiting myself anymore. And I feel like 2020 has been about me starting new things. This podcast was born 2020. My other podcast was born 2020. So many other friends of mine have started podcasts and events and things. I feel like 2020 has shown me to never, never doubt the capacity of people around you to surprise you, because I also have been very surprised. What about you, sis?
2020 has everything that every plan that I thought I had, it didn't. It turned all of my plans upside down because I was supposed to graduate this year. I was supposed to have the graduation parties to end all graduation parties, and I was going to have my last hot girl summer in Chicago, and COVID just came and changed everything. And I'm not gonna lie, I think I was kind of sad about it at first, but so many, even amongst the chaos and amongst the confusion, like so many good things have happened for me on a personal level. Moving, I was able to move out of Chicago, which turned out to be like a more transformational experience for me than what I thought I was. From a transformational experience, and it impacted me more than I thought it was going to. Just like the power in just like moving myself to a different city and driving the truck and just like having that moment of, being in control, or, not letting life happen to me and me making life happen, and starting from scratch. That was, and also, even though this year has been lonely or it has been isolating, for me, it's allowed me to tap further into myself and to listen to myself and trust the voice within me, and be the type of woman that bets on herself and take risk on herself, and to really get in tune with what it is to trust myself. And I think during this time, it has kind of solidified and cemented like that I have the skills, I have the innate talent, and I need to start trusting myself more. Personally, professionally, and I feel like I am in tune with myself, and I know myself more now, as far as like what I really want, what really makes me feel good, what I really don't like. And I'm able to communicate that, and I'm able to establish boundaries. And I'm able to, if a boundary is established and is violated, or a boundary is established and we have to take time to come back together to figure out what that looks like in terms of repairing a relationship, we can do that as well. Right. So like 2020 has been, I don't know, I just feel like I've become stronger as an adult. I feel like I am, you know, growing it more and more and what it means to be the adult Brianna that you know, knows who she is, knows what she's feeling, knows how to effectively communicate it, and knows how to move accordingly if I'm not moving in a space of love, if I'm not moving in a space of respect. A Brianna that, you know, is who wants to take control of her career and wants to take advantage of opportunities and not, you know, letting stuff happen to me, but me controlling life. And also being open to that life doesn't have to be one way. Like you don't have to be on this like this stair climb to this ultimate goal. Like it doesn't, like you maybe you don't need to use the stairs. Maybe you need to take an elevator or you get like an air, like being open to the fact that it doesn't have to look like how you think it's going to look. And if something happens to derail you, knowing that it's another way you can get to your final destination. So and like on a larger scale, I'm glad that the social movements are where they are, because I feel like it's been like a renaissance for like Black Lives Matter, and it's been like a renaissance for like Trans Lives Matter in like a whole new way.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the state of those movements. And me as a girl that's a realist, I like that we are really getting down to the nitty gritty and having conversations, and like having conversations in a way where like white folks and cis folks aren't just acknowledging what's going on, aren't just like putting like trans flags and Black Lives Matters flags on their social media, but it's just like, bitch, no, what are you doing to personally like invest in this movement and divest from bigotry? Because at this point, that's what it's going to take. What are you going to do to change the votes literally at the ballot? Like what? And I also love seeing I love seeing so many like grassroots and blue collar people being like integrated into like politics and into policy work, because I'm a person that like education is great, but like if we always use education as a barometer, then the people that are really on the ground that really have more insight, they'll never be able to get in so they can change the policy. So, and even in our community, I'm so happy to see the elevation of the girls that are so often overlooked in our community, and like now they have platforms to finally, you know, say what they need to say. So like, even though it's been chaos in 2020 and so we've lost so many lives and we lost so many people that have been central to the culture, I'm still optimistic that things will be better. Will they be the same? No, but I don't necessarily think it needs to be the same. I think we need something new and more genuine.
I agree. You know what's funny is as you were talking, my brain began to think back to January in the beginning of the year. And if I'm not mistaken, this was the same year where we lost Kobe Bryant, and like, you know, that was like the very beginning of the year. And like, I think it was Nipsey Hussle also this year, or was that last year?
I think that was the year before.
But I just know it was coming into the top of this year. That was the thing. And I know I had these big 2020 plans, and I know the world did. And then you think about how everything stopped. And
Right.
as you were talking in your narrative, I was listening to you talk, and I thought about, you know, you being this excuse me. I'm so sorry. You being this burgeoning graduate, and like, and you know, that's a hopeful time, that's a time of new beginning, it's a time of transition. And then to think how like the world stopped and you still had to like navigate through COVID, navigate through a shutdown, do a whole move, and you were able to start a job, and all of this, all while the world is in one of the worst times that it's ever been in the last 100 years. And I just want to acknowledge you for a second, sis, because there's a lot that can be said for, you know, those of us that you know, are just trying to hold it in the road and just keeping life together. But I just want to applaud you particularly in this moment, because you took the bar, you did all of these things, and it's like one of those get still I rise type of situations. And you are a beacon of light here in this moment, sis. And I know even for me, this year has been the best of times and the worst of times. I've had some of the most wonderful things happen to me. I've been the most productive. I've been forced to sit and think about a lot of things that are happening inside myself. I've been forced, because of losses, to reevaluate relationships with family. I've been forced to deepen in my spirituality. But what I will say is, this is the year that has been the best of times and worst of times. And your life, Brianna, is an example to me of someone that can life can hand you a completely shitty batch of rotten lemons, bitch, and you made that shit lemonade. So brava, diva.
Thank you. Thank you. So are you going to take the vaccine?
Girl, let's unpack this vaccine. So I acknowledge that the vaccine was, I think, created by Black women. I acknowledge that I do believe that the people that are giving out the virus are intending to do what they think is best and right. And I do believe they have our best interest. What I also believe is that big money, big pharma is something that needs to be investigated, and not enough has done to regulate that industry. And the idea that Pfizer, a company that has known to settle lawsuits for shit that they already knew was going to cause problems, and they had money, and they already had money put to the side for settlements later. Like, when we talking about companies that, if you look in their history, have settled so many lawsuits, I personally need the Lioness. For me, knowing the history of how well-intending people of color can be used, Mrs. Evers Boys, well-intending people of color can be used to inadvertently experiment on a community that don't really have a lot of rights to say something if shit go wrong. I personally need the Lioness. Am going to abstain for a period of time. Well, one, I'm not even one of those people that can get it anyway right now. And here's why. I have a severe allergic reaction to a food. And because of that, I am one of the groups of people that they don't want sensitive groups, people that have a history of possible anaphylactic responses, to participate. So I am not in danger of getting the vaccine anytime soon anyway. But even if it was something that, if I could check off the list, and they make you do the checklist to make sure you qualify, even if I did qualify, I still would be hesitant, just because of the history in this country of them rushing things. And I don't trust this previous administration. I don't trust that this has gone through the proper protocols. And this is just me personally speaking for me. I would not get it for myself. Now, am I discouraging anyone else? Do I think people in sensitive groups, people that have to go back to jobs where they're around people all the time that are dealing with COVID, if you are willing to take the risk, fine. But I know for me, I know for a lot of my friends, they're going to have to find some kind of way to incentivize people wanting to get this. They're going to have to find a way to make it a benefit, some type of bonus, some type of income tax credit, some type of something with your job, something, because there's no benefit to me right now to just be experimenting with this. I know that I personally am not going to be able to get it. So again, this is me talking bias, but I'm going to say, I understand people's caution, and I don't like the narrative out there right now with public health, that, because I've seen Black people on a few of my favorite Black talk shows, particularly like Roland Martin and some other pundits, talking about how Black people, we need to stop being so skeptical. And
actually, I will be skeptical, bitch.
And I'm going to increase my skepticism because you're saying that. Like, bitch, never. And so, and that's just me being shady and being funny and facetious with the word bitch. But my point is I don't trust this government, and I don't trust it just because you say it's. And then the idea that you send, black women out a lot of times to be the person on the TV scolding black people, like, well, black people, we have to learn to do better. We have to learn that, this vaccine is going to save so many of us, and since so many of us are dying, it's like, well, sis. So many of us are dying because they didn't give a fuck about us in the first place. And I don't understand how you think this magic shot in this magic shot in a vial means that they care about me miraculously. Like, I don't get it. And I have skepticism, and I am skeptical of well-intending black folk who are allowing the establishment to guide, shepherd black people along to this new little thing. Like, if y'all want to play with it, and then we'll see how we go. But there's no way you're going to tell me it takes longer for them to make clinical trials on a breast implant shell. It takes 5 years for them to do that. It takes years for them to do prosthetics and pieces that go into people's body. It takes years for them to even come up with. It takes sometimes a year or two to even get skincare and medical therapeutic stuff to get approved. And you mean to tell me this virus just jumped through like that? And you can't even if you told me we did all of the testing in the world we could do, you haven't done it in a period of time long enough, in my opinion, for it to be valid. So no, I'm not getting no fucking vaccine right now, and I'm skeptical. Now that my opinion may change. My opinion may change, and in no way am I discouraging anyone, nor am I a medical professional to give anyone advice. So, that's my disclaimer. Y'all are listening. This is for entertainment purposes only. I suggest you do whatever your medical provider suggests, and you should consult your medical provider before you change your regimen in any way. Amen.
I don't know. Let me say this. I don't think I'm the class of people that urgently need to take at least this first round of vaccine, because I'm not an essential worker and I'm not in a high risk environment. Like, I live by myself. The only time I really go out and I'm around people is when I'm at the supermarket. So that's one. But I'm very iPhone about the situation. I want to wait until the following year when they come out with the new model with the kinks worked out. And it's not to say that I don't trust medicine or I don't trust science, but I just want to wait. And I'm the type of girl, I'm not the early adopter. I'm the girl that's just going to wait, see what some of the reviews are, what some of the side effects
bitch. I don't even get a cell phone when it first come out.
Right. I just want to sit back. And a lot of that has to do with our government, just because they just been so all over the place, and they've demonstrated and they've made it crystal clear that they don't give a fuck about us. They give no fucks about us. So it would not surprise me if they steamroll this vaccine out and all of the kinks haven't been worked out. My mom I gotta ask my mom if she's taking it or she wants to take it, or they're trying to force her to take it. But I am worried if my mom has to take it, because she's a medical professional and she has side effects. But as for me, I'm not inclined to take it. Do I want to live in a world where they've worked all the kinks out and I could take it as a preventative measure? Yeah, I want to, because I'm a girl that has been vaccinated against other things. So I do believe in vaccinations, but I don't feel like I know enough about this, and I don't feel like at this point, bitch, they would have to do a Real Housewives of Atlanta special.
They would. It would have to involve. It would have to be a roundtable discussion involving all black celebrities, bitch.
Right. Yeah, I was just about to go there. They need to be black, just so I can have that cultural connection. So I need
to see Oprah get it on camera, bitch.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oprah needs to be getting a shot on camera as the conversation is happening.
Yes. I am, and she needs to do her. And I got my shot.
Right.
COVID.
You get a shot. You get a shot.
You get a shot. Yeah, bitch. I need the hype, bitch. If you're I need to see Beyonce.
girl.
I need to see Blue Ivy vaccinated.
Girl, low key, all of the syringes got placebo in it.
Girl, that'll be the gag, bitch. They get water, bitch. A saline solution, mama.
Right. No, but I would like to get it because I was having a conversation with my girlfriend. I am ready for things to get somewhat back to normal, meaning I'm ready to travel again because no shade. I love being home, but I'm a girl that likes to travel. I like to travel. I like to be other places. I like to get my life. So the whole thing has really cut into my traveling, especially with this second wave and how many more people are dying each day. And I'm just trying to be responsible.
Well, they say we starting wave 3 now, girl.
Well, I don't have any trips planned. I don't plan on having, even though I was trying to plan a cabin trip, but that would have just been driving, which I felt comfortable with. But as far as airplanes, until Biden Harris get in office and they just shut the whole country down for a month and pay us, that's when I'll be traveling again. But I do want to get back to a country where we can at least travel and just be somewhat outwardly social. So I'm hopeful that they'll be able to refine it and that they'll be able to get it where we have public confidence in the vaccine, and I'm just hoping that they're able to refine it and they'll actually have a government that is supportive of them stepping out of their way and allowing them to do what they need to do and be as efficient as possible. Girl, I remember something I wanted to talk about that I forgot about. Did you see Red Table Talk? And we've been meaning to have to come back to this conversation because we had
Lori Laughlin's daughter.
Yeah, because remember we talked about this like when we first started recording and we tabled the conversation and we were supposed to come back to Red Table Talk, but I don't think we never came back to it. And now this is the perfect time to have like a light
down, mama.
Have a light conversation about Miss Jada. Because she was tripping. She was tripping.
Majorly caping.
Yeah, she was. It's like, girl, you are wealthy. Which you are not white. Like, no shade, as wealthy and as established as you and Will are and y'all empire is, y'all don't have shit on a little white rich girl. And hold
on. Before we get into it, let's give a little background for our listeners. So very recently, I'm sure those of you who have been paying attention to the pop culture this year, one of the breaking stories was Red Table Talk, particularly Will and Jada Smith, particularly an entanglement. That's not what this conversation is about, but just to give you guys some form of reference, Red Table Talk is a show that the Smith family produces, usually hosting the common characters of Jada, her mom, and her daughter as reoccurring, and then they have guests that come on the show. Some of you may remember Jordan Woods, excuse me. Sorry, Miss Sparks. I don't want to get you in the mess. Jordan Woods was involved in an incident with the Kardashians, and Jada's used her round table and her connections to protect Jordan because Jordan was a family friend. This Red Table is a phenomenon that is produced through Facebook. It's a phenomenon that has taken the country where this family has designated themselves almost fixers of other people's shit, and almost in a weird way, they also use it as a propaganda tool to control their image and to put forth this image that they are
and insulate these celebrities that make horrible mistakes.
So now, another article the main thing that this is related to is there is a cheating scandal revolving Lori Laughlin, I believe is her name, and her husband Massimo. You may know him from the very famous brands that are in Target, Target. He also has bigger brands, and he's a billionaire, so they rich folks. So these are extremely rich.
And Lori Laughlin was Aunt Becky on Full House.
Aunt Becky from Full House. Not Full House. Is it? Am I saying that right? It is
Full House.
Oh, it is Full House. And so Becky from Full House. So you know, she's been on TV for a while. Well, anyway, they did some extremely heinous shit with cheating, in which they had people taking their children SAT
No,
scores
they paid 250,000 each for both of their daughters to
to be
get
on a
into
fake row
USC.
team.
Yeah, to get into USC.
Basically to get into USC, but it also took scholarships away from people who would have needed it, because they particularly got athletic scholarships with neither one of them had ever played a sport. So, which brings us to now, this young white woman, the daughter, who is now, I believe, 22 or 21, somewhere in there. She's dropped out of college, or she wasn't invited back. And she's trying to rehab her social media career. She was a minor YouTuber that was starting to get some clout. And she would brag about how she hated college and wouldn't go to class, and she was only going for the party. So it's interesting now. She's trying to take her vapid kind of I'm a rich white girl image and rehab it on the backs of Black women. And Jada Pinkett took the bait. Go ahead, Brianna.
No, I was with Gam, aka Adrian, aka Mama from Baltimore, the whole time, because she said everything that I was thinking. Like, out of all the people this little white girl could have picked to go on their show, this hoe came to us. Why is she here? Why do we as Black people have to be the ones to understand and to rehab your image? Particularly when we're talking about, and this is what some of my job deals with, well, particularly when you have when Black people go to college, especially these prestigious college, and USC is one of those places. And when Black people are there, when we overcome obstacles to get there, we still are questioned, or barriers are in place so we can't get there.
Or it's assumed that we got there under this affirmative action, and our very presence to people seems to be like charity, when meanwhile...
Right, you literally bought your way into the school. You literally used your family. And then the thing that was pissing me off is, well, I didn't know, and I didn't know. It's just like, girl, yeah, you might have been privileged, girl, but you knew you weren't on no rowing team, sis. When you took the pictures and you sent the application in, or like you just had no conversations with, like, I'm just not gonna buy this feign ignorance. And okay, let's say I'm gonna buy this feign ignorance. What are you doing besides your little PR suggestion to say, you know, I'm aware that I am white in America and I am like, if 2020 hasn't taught us anything, it's just like, what is the restorative justice of what you're going to? Because at this point, you're going to have to financially, like, bitch, you need to be donating to like these little Black organizations that are using the little resources they have to help Black youth, or youth of color, underprivileged of color, prepare them to get into college, prepare them to take the SAT, which the SAT is bullshit. It should not be. It should not be a requirement to get into college. But like, you at this point, sis, you need to be redistributing your wealth to really show that you're sorry. Because like Gammy said, she's white. She's gonna be just fine. In about a year or two, this is gonna blow over, and she's going to return to being one of the highest paid beauty influencers. And somebody else had brought this up. Just by her being white, she's able to get way more money than one of the top tier Black influencers, just by virtue of her being white and her being wealthy. So yes. Gam was right. She will be okay. She could have went on Ellen, and Ellen needs guests. Because
Ellen mean ass needs to be someplace where they would.
Right, because they low key about to cancel Ella's show, because ain't nobody fucking with her no more after that little sexual that little racism scandal. Like, nobody's messing with her.
Right. Not to mention the amount of people. I was just watching YouTube yesterday. Not to mention the amount of people that have hostile work environment claims against her.
Right. So but what I'm happy about, me seeing the optimism, is that they were able to capture this conversation, and Adrian was right on point. And this is what I want Black wealthy people to know: like, y'all asses are still Black. Like, y'all ass, like, yes, you might, and Jada and them, they've been wealthy for a long time, and I totally get, especially how in this country, how we think that amassing wealth makes us just like them because we're able to get the things that they have. But bitch, at the end of the day, even with your polished and prim red table talk platform and how the soccer moms are watching you, like, bitch, you'll still never be able to command the systemic and institutional power like this little 20-year-old white girl. Like, you just don't. So, like, you really think
so what you're
doing...
really saying is your frustration is because you feel like Jada in particular was doing a favor for friends and being more in alliance with her rich friends than actually a seeker of the truth and really holding this white girl to task for the reality of what she actually did.
Right.
Because the idea also that what vexed my bones is was also that she did not even give that, she allowed that girl to play dumb.
Right. She blamed her parents.
Yes.
Like, sis, you knew what was going on. You knew you were not studious. You knew you did not deserve to be in USC. Like,
you even said in your videos you didn't want to go to school, and what you planned to get out of school was the experience of partying, of socializing, and of being a boys. Like, I literally watched the YouTube clip of her saying that. So then it just brings it. This was before she was. This is when she found out she was getting in. That was her attitude. So it was just like, you knew that this was a bought and paid for thing. You were just going for the experience. You never probably planned on graduating anyway. But just the audacity of your parents to feel like they can circumvent the rules and get this minor ass sentence that only has them in jail for weeks. When we know black people around the country that are in jail for much lighter offenses, things that have had no impact like this on denying people access to education by you taking up fucking space. Because see, this is the reality. What's sick to me is that they're rich enough that they could have just donated a library to the school and let the bitch get in general admission. And
right, y'all could have just donated the money to the school, and she could have just got in
general admission, and then you fucking just go. The idea that she had to get a scholarship, the idea that it had to be something that they could brag about to their friends. Like, it couldn't just be, oh, my daughter got in, and she just, because your daughter was gonna get in anyway, girl. Like, it's not that, okay, so it's not that I can't use my power and influence to just get her in. She has to get this Rose Scholarship, a full ride. And she has to take up space that would ordinarily go to somebody else. So people feel like she really earned what I ultimately bought her anyway. That is crazy to me.
Yeah, but my suggestion now...
The narcissism of celebrity is what I also feel like is exposed by this.
Right. Now, I have evolved. I'm not, because before I was like, cancel the show. But no, keep the show. My suggestion, we need more of Gam. Because we need more of Gam. And we maybe need a light journalist. Somebody to be objective and not, I don't want to do to her. This is like, Jada, you could never do to her what she could do to you because you're a black woman.
That is where I keyed in my heart. I was like, the idea that you feel like you even could. The idea that you even holding her to task is in your mind. That was a very mammy-ass interview, if you ask
me. Like, girl, you're not... Jada, I know your hair was platinum blonde and it looked fab, bitch. The color looked amazing. But you were still African-American, sis, with a lot of money. But African-American... But no shade, ever since that August Alsina shit, they've kind of been struggling to get it back on track. Because that August Alsina shit, like, it didn't take them down, but it kind of sideswept them and they kind of hit a tree. And they need, so it's just like, Jada, bring it back, sis. Like, let's bring it back. And it's, to me, it's an opinion. If you want to give that mother love tea, I have no problem with that. But hold that bitch accountable. Like, be very Aeon about it. Like, at the end, bitch, we're going to get to our common destination, girl. But I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to question you every step of the way, because I don't believe that you didn't. I don't believe that you didn't know, and I'm not going to accept that you just blaming this all on your parents. But at the end of the day, she'll be fine. We'll hear about that little girl in the news, and she's inked some. It'll be her return to prominence. She's inked some $10 million beauty campaign deal, and she'll write a book about how she was depressed and couldn't eat, and she became anorexic.
That's what she's gonna. No, that's the gag, sis. She's gonna write the book on how she recovered from
right.
Her parents. She's gonna make them 2 weeks in jail, make it seem like her life was ended.
Right.
Like her parents, like they went through the worst thing in the world.
And you know what? When her mom writes the book, guess where she's not coming to promote it, bitch? Guess where?
Box number 512.
No, to fucking Red Table Talk.
Oh, now ain't that the gag? Now ain't that the
gag? Bitch, we needed you when we thought we were down, but now that we're on the upswing, girl, that little African American show, no, like,
we'll take this to the View, bitch.
Right. Like, we'll take this to the 900 Club, bitch. That's where we'll take it. And no, but shout out to Gam. She took the words right out of my mouth. It just annoys me when white people don't they act like they don't know what's going on. Like, girl, you knew what was going on, sis. You knew,
and you paid it. And and if you just could be honest, that would make me feel much better.
Right.
Like, you knew and you paid it because it was convenient. I would rather you say, you know what, I was a spoiled white woman and I didn't care, and this made me really care.
And I was rich as fuck.
I was rich as fuck, and I have never suffered consequences. And now I realize actions have consequences, and I know that I'm wrong, and I'm not making no excuses. And I did know, and I deserve to do, and I did know I didn't deserve it, and I'm sorry. Like, that would have made me feel better.
I would have been cool if she would have been like, I'm rich, I'm white, and I don't give a fuck. And I'm still living my life. I'm still wealthy. And girl, fuck y'all. Like, I would have respected that as well, girl, because that's really what she's giving, girl. Like, deep down underneath it, girl, she knows she's going to be okay.
But I need the optics of, this is where Jada angered me, because you allow her to play you for optics, because what she ultimately needs is the optics of saying, well, I did try to make peace with those niggers. I really did.
And I chose them over the Gloria Estefan spinoff, bitch.
I could have been I didn't have to go to them. I could have went to Andy Cohen, bitch. I could have went anywhere. Anybody would have wanted to hear me speak, but I chose those Black people because I wanted Black people everywhere to know that I support your small businesses. Girl,
on Facebook Watch, but the shade,
I support
the shade of it all. The shade of it all.
The shade of it all is I'm gonna take it to Facebook Watch because I want to support Black-owned business. I need some brownie points, and they're willing to give them up for free, Jada.
Well, Adrian wasn't giving shit up. She was looking like this. Oh
yeah, Adrian. I think that was one of the interviews where I'm sure she regretted having her mom be a part of it, because she obviously had a conversation with the family about how they were gonna handle this little girl, and the mama was like, "No, bitch, it's not going." No,
that's me all day, bitch. Gam, that's my mood all day.
That's very your set, sis.
Right, that's my set. I'm like, girl, why are you here? Why are you here? But I don't want to speak on this too much. I just want to bring it into the room. The first part of the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion aired on Sunday. Miss Thing,
baby, should I tune in?
Oh, this reunion is giving me like Real Housewives of Atlanta, like season 9, season 4, season 5. Like Monique is letting the girls, particularly Miss Giselle, have it, bitch. And I got my life. Like, she literally has a binder at the reunion with tea for each girl.
Yeah, girl, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it as soon as we get off. As soon as we finish this part.
Yeah, but Monique, she came to play. I was entertained. Giselle has had it coming for the past 5 seasons, and she was, you have aired a bitch when they can't respond with nothing. They just sit and stare at you.
Oh.
That's how you know you've aired a bitch out. And Monique came and did what needed to be done. And Cameron was there backing her up.
And your mean ass live for a read, bitch. and she aired her out, bitch.
She did. But that's what happens when you try to propagate smoke and mirrors like everything is okay and everybody can see, like, girl, he's cheating on you, sis. Y'all are not in a relationship. He's not even supporting you at this reunion, sis. He's not.
That part.
But no, I was entertained. I will be tuned in for part 2, and I think this is going to be a great reunion. This is giving me Real Housewives of Atlanta heyday when their reunions were full of drama. So, congrats, Monique. You were exquisite. Let's get into these Facebook groups, sis.
Okay. Go ahead, girl.
Oh, so so I recently joined a Facebook group on Facebook, and it's
those of you who don't know, Brianna does not do that often.
No, because typically when I'm recruited to these groups, I'm there for one day, and I see the posts and I see some of the members, and I know that it's my time to exit stage left. But this one is a little different because the people were interacting with each other, and the group is for trans people and mainly cis men that are attracted to trans people, some trans men. Like it's a group for our demographic and our admirers. So this particular group, I've been in for like a couple of days now, and I immediately didn't get the initial instinct to run and to delete the group and have it put to the never put me back in here again. But it's been a lot of conversations. I have enjoyed some of the conversations. I've kind of sparked some of the conversations. And I guess one thing that I have noticed, or I am noticing, is that ideologically, a lot of the trans feminine people in the group are way more conversationally advanced than a lot of the men in the group, because the women will post like topics and they'll post questions that a lot of times require you to like really dig deep and to give like a thoughtful response. And like when I see some of the guys posting there, a lot of it, in my opinion, can be like it's surface stuff, or sometimes it can be crude in a way that's like low-key offensive and low-key objectifying for the trans feminine folks in the room, or it could be like very binary in a way that erases the non-binary folks who are in the room. So it's just been interesting to see that dynamic, and to see how the men are kind of resistant to the presence of certain feminine folks in the room. Sis?
Yeah, so what I've noticed, first of all, I have questions. So I don't, that group, if you look on the actual history for the group, I mean, like the about information, it says the group's been open for 2 years, but it seems like very recently it's got new management or something. I don't know, but I feel like I was recently added to the group, and it's like it's starting up all over again, and I think that's dope. I don't know this logistics behind it, but I know that it seems like the people are very intentional on inviting of a diverse group of opinions. So when I saw the people that were in the group, like my sister Brianna and other girls, I was like, okay, so they're looking for a certain set, and at least a more conversational set. So I'll see. And I have appreciated and have participated in some of the conversations on the thread. I think that, like you said, Brianna, I do see that there's a communication gap with the amount of information that the girls are willing to solicit, the girls are willing to ask for versus what the men are willing to do. And I think that just falls back into just the way like society allows these niggas to not feel like they have to express themselves. They feel like their presence and their likes and their hearts on your face pictures or your body pictures are enough. And I feel like unfortunately the internet has led to lazy ass niggas because it, and there also could be a skill set gap there. I think let's acknowledge that a lot of particularly black men are disenfranchised in education, and as a result literacy may not be the thing for everybody. So I do have to acknowledge, I see some posts in there where it's where the people type and I'm like, okay,
Oh.
okay girl, okay. But
we acknowledge that education is a spectrum, bitch.
right. And everybody's education outcomes are not, to be measured as equal, or determinative. People have different outcomes, whatever, all that jazz and shit. However, I will say I sometimes wish that some of the men that I know can have deeper conversations would, and not be so to be so reactive to women. I feel like in order for us to have genuine conversation, the real meat of the matter needs to be addressed on both sides. So there are going to be questions that men need to be able to ask us that I feel like the girls got to be willing to accept and not shut down. But also the men need to be man enough to put it out there and to share it. Because a lot of times I see a lot of fishing questions from the girls trying to get men to talk about how they feel on things, trying to bring in depth to the conversation. But when it's a conversation about, let's say, colorism and how it affects transness, those don't really get a lot of comments. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's the same suspects.
Right.
And that's fine. But and hopefully there are other people benefiting from watching the conversations, because everybody's not going to follow our respective podcasts. Everybody's not going to, follow the advocacy meetings and all that jazz. So they may not know what we do and the perspective that could help improve their analysis. So I do like that the group encourages dialogue, but I'm gonna keep it a hundo, baby. It seems like it's gonna end up. My fear is that it's gonna end up being like a lot of groups that are like where the moderators aren't intentional on in trying to keep the conversation going, and you rely on the members to just put what the fuck they want up, and then and not that members can't, but there should be a part of the moderation team that's dedicated to curating and having conversation on a regular basis. Otherwise, the group becomes one or two girls join the group, and then she posts her picture up all on the timeline every day, all day, and then and then the girls on there that no shade are trying to make a little coin. They start doing their stuff, they get on there and start, booty hole opening, and then I'm out.
Yeah, bitch. When that day comes, I don't know if it has come, but when it comes, like, I'll be out, bitch. Because it's just like, but I know that's why when I came in the group, I purposely came in with like no picture. I just had something to say, like introducing myself, because for me, I look at it as like a conversational space. But I respect the girls that lead in with their picture, and if you're young and cunt, girl, like, get your life. But for me, the space is conversational. I don't know. I think it kind of is telling that in these closed spaces, like when you see some of the guys and some of the ladies kind of like talk about sex and talk about body parts in a way that doesn't like really advance the conversation, and it's kind of like objectifying the conversation. That is kind of it gives me room for pause. Like it's like when trans amorous men and when trans feminine folks come together, can we talk about more than this? Like, and I'm not saying we can't have fun and we can't have a good time, but does it always have to go back to sex and what everybody is doing in the bedroom? And
and I'm not the girl. And see, let me tell you, I'm not the girl that can't appreciate a good sex conversation. But I do feel like that's where the moderators and other people should be intentional on, like, posting up. It doesn't take much. Find you those creative memes that make you have interesting astrology conversations. Put up the interesting memes that make us talk about our favorite childhood movies. Like, find a way to make this thing interesting. And this is
And
hopefully,
to humanize everybody.
yes, and to humanize everybody so we can have conversations with that don't revolve around pussy, dick, you know, pussy, dick, and fucking relationship, and dating, and why we don't like each other. Like, I feel like part of the problem is there's not too many spaces on the internet dedicated to just getting to know each other. Like,
Right.
who is your favorite X-Men? What do you want to do when what would you do in the event of a nuclear apocalypse? Who would you take with you? What would be your favorite song? What would be, if you could take a boombox with a 12 CD boombox, what CDs would be in it? Like, those are the kind of conversations you can just have in a group and like get conversations and get to know people without it being so sexual. So if there's anybody listening that's affiliated with admin or moderating in that group, that needs to happen, because otherwise you're relying on the group, a bunch of lonely people who aren't able to go out and really mingle to really get caught up in their sex, because and we need distractions from them.
Yeah, and no shade. That's what kind of excites me about the group. Like, actually talking and interacting with the community on a different level. That's why I'm so active in a thing, because I like the fact that we can talk and directly interact with each other.
Right. And you know what? That is talking to me as well, because I am aware that it does take girls like us and guys like the guys that we fuck with, to really raise the conversation so that other people, even if that stuff does go in there, it can't dominate because we're engaging.
Right.
If we really want to make it community, we gotta make it community.
Right, and I feel like I've gotten to the short time that I've been in there, I've gotten to know some girls, but I'm not even, it's other girls that are raising issues like, hey, like, there are also non-binary folks in here, there are trans men in here, and we just need to be aware that some of the language that's being used is kind of offensive to the community that's in this room. So we just need to be aware. And then I had like a big back and forth today, not like inflammatory, but the person was like, well, how are we going to know if folks don't say anything? And I was just trying to get the person to entertain the possibility, like there are a lot of reasons why people, especially folks who are underrepresented in this room, may not feel comfortable to say anything, but that doesn't mean that we kind of like jump down their throat or we don't try to be more inclusive. I shouldn't have to say something for you to be open to the possible. Like, if we had a more inclusive, safer environment, then maybe moving forward, somebody might feel comfortable to say anything. But it's all about folks feeling comfortable, so we can invite more perspectives into the room. But I'm glad I was able to have that back and forth, and I felt, and ultimately I ended it because I just get to a point where, I've said what I said, and I'm going to leave this gracefully, and I hope next time we can grow or we can meet back at the same point again and reassess. But we have to be open, and trans amorous men have to be open to the fact that because trans women are in community with more people, and even our identities are, for trans women, there are some trans women that are at the intersection of non-binary and gender non-conforming, and we just have to make sure that we are constantly elevating our consciousness so that we're not repressing people.
Yes.
Especially in places that claim to be safe spaces for these communities.
I agree. I also want to say shout out to the men that are participating, and because I do want to acknowledge that, even I have seen moments where guys have been put, there has been pushback, and I've respected the way all people have been able to dialogue. So I do want to say shout out to the group for that. Like, I'm glad that the energy is good. I think all of these groups have their benefits. I wish that some of these groups didn't allow themselves to go down a tunnel. And I'm a girl that has been a part of all of social media since the very beginning. And
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and I've watched this group thing on Facebook really evolve into something that could really be good. And there have been a few attempts now to really do the thing, and they've gotten all of the members, and then the ball fell. So hopefully, this group, as it grows, they just keep this vibe.
And no shade, it's some
And
it's
the
some
vibe is
pretty
curated. Go ahead.
yeah, and it's some pretty like boss ass bitches in this group. Like I and myself included, yourself included. Like it's some pretty like heavy hitters like in this group that are making moves. So I just think it would be a missed opportunity if we didn't like learn from each other and listen to each other and kind of take it to the next level of what it could be. And really that's the opportunity for us to share and learn from each other, because the reality is that we have to share with each other, especially if the trans amorous man movement is going to elevate in consciousness like the transgender activism movement. Because they've been in their silo, they've been in their shell, and now to me this is an opportunity where we're sharing ideas with each other and like one hand is washing the other.
Yeah.
And for the guys, it's going to be uncomfortable at times. But I think because of the type of women that we are very dynamic and progressive in nature. So if we're pushing back, we're pushing back to elevate you higher.
Exactly. Because the only way there can be a true understanding is through conflict and conversation. You have different points of view, and if you've never heard a point of view that differs from yours, and if if there's not a safe space for those points of views to impact and engage and even crash against each other, then you never really evolve. And I can say that I'm evolving now that the internet has allowed me to air my grievances and have conversations and go back and forth with men in a way that I was never able to do in the early thousands. In the damn near 20 years of me being trans, this is the most engagement with in a platonic way with trans amorous men that I've ever had. So shout out to the groups and the internet for that, at least. Because I will say this is the most engaging with men that's not trying to get in my panties that I've ever had that like the girls. Because usually the only way to really engage with those men is in the context of the dating apps or the meetup apps. It's not really, they really don't use it. In the past, they really haven't come to the light. So the trans amorous movement really has done a good job of providing a common voice. I think a banner for them to get behind so that they now can start having conversations, and they've named it now. And I think now that they've come under a name, they can now organize together. And what they've done very well is at least starting the dialogue. Now, I do think that there is some deepening that could be done in activism, but as far as like communication and dialogue, I really, really am glad, and shout out to that movement, because I do see them in this group, and that's on the men's side too. And like Brianna said, the idea that y'all are willing to participate, knowing full well that a lot of what we have to say is a critique about how you behave, is good. And it is a good step towards us having wonderful relations going forward. Not just for dating, but just for interpersonal community relationship with y'all as the men that say they love us.
Right. So since I think we did an episode.
I feel like we did too.
So how are we going to end off our last episode, our last recorded episode of the year?
Well, I was thinking, sis, what I was thinking, can you, if you could, this is a great idea. I think I would love for you to talk about what you're grateful for, that you've gotten out of this year, and for just to kind of give just your summary on how you think this year is going to propel you forward, I think. And then we'll do a moment of silence for those we've lost.
Well, I think what I'm most grateful for is a deeper love of self. I think when I started this year, and when I at the beginning of this pandemic, I was really sad and I was really depressed because I put a lot of my value and self-worth into a situation where I wasn't being honored, and really a situation where I I was betting on somebody. I was betting on somebody choosing me, so I didn't have to deal with and I didn't have to heal those broken parts in me. So I was really hoping to get into something in order to hide behind somebody, so I didn't have to deal with those broken parts of myself, and I didn't have to hit my rock bottom.
That's an awesome bit of self-reflection, sis.
So losing that, but also thriving, by passing a bar, but then being alone again for COVID and just have it. And I'm so thankful for the extended time that I've had to reflect. I've had to do soul searching. I had to hit my rock bottom. I had to cry. I had to feel lonely. Only to come out to realize that I have a path, I have a purpose, I'm supposed to be here. I have so many people that love me and so many people that see it for me. I have so many people that look up to me, and that I don't need to hide behind any man. That I by myself am enough. I'm so thankful for that. I'm thankful for this podcast. It has been it feels like we've been doing this for years, even though we just started this year. But it's been a lot of ups. It's been some downs, but through it all, we've been consistent. I feel like we have got to learn. We've gotten to learn each other in different ways. I feel like we are still learning each other. It's kind of like we are married to each other in a way. Yeah. Just because of the level of commitment and the level of communication. But I'm happy to have this opportunity to do this podcast, because I didn't ever think, I didn't have the confidence to be in this type of space again, because when I did my YouTube show, I just developed a lot of insecurities about myself and about putting myself out there like that. So I'm happy that you pushed me and I was able to overcome a lot of those insecurities so I could develop my voice, and also to be a demonstration to community that we can come together and we can build and put a genuine product out there. But I think the two biggest things I'm taking out of 2020 is to just to have a deeper level of self-love for myself, and being responsible for creating the type of life that I want to have, and also betting on myself, continuing to take risk on myself. If I have the skills and the fortitude to pass the bar, and if I can buckle down and discipline to do that, then I can buckle down and discipline to change my diet. I can buckle down and discipline to save money so I can pay off this damn credit card debt once and for all for now, so I can start saving for my house and saving for a car, so I can repair relationships that are important to me. So those are the two things that I'm taking out of 2020, and I just want to continue to reach the highest heights that I can reach, and just not let anything get in my way, and just continue to be in relationships, and also allow myself to take breaks and to give myself rest, and to not be so hard on myself to be everything for everybody, or trying to chase the next accomplishment. Just giving myself, you only get one body and you need to let it rest, and just listen to your body. When I have days where I just can't do it all, I just won't do it. So
yes. Well, thank you for sharing that, sis. Those sound like really amazing things. We've learned quite a lot this year. For me, I want to say the things that I'm grateful for this year first are for my health. I want to thank all of the gods and goddesses in the universe and being that are under the sound of my voice, that helped me avoid that this year as a personal thing. I know that so many people have gotten it, and I know that the year is still coming to a close. But I just know that I'm grateful that I have not labored with that this year, or at least I don't think I have. We all, I think everybody got a little bit of a chest cold they had that could have been COVID, but I know that so far my COVID results have been negative, and I've been socially distancing and I'm alone, and just processing that. I'm grateful for the capacity to be able to handle being alone. It has had its downs. It really has its downs. I realize how much of my personality really it is important. It really enjoys being around people, human beings, human interaction. As much as an introvert as I say I am, I'm the kind of girl that likes to be around people. I just don't want to be talking to everybody. So I am the girl that will go and people watch. I am the girl that likes to go to Piedmont to watch people. I am the girl that likes to go sit at bars and just have conversation with my husband just at happy hour, not even trying to do nothing fab. I am the kind of girl that loved live music. I am the kind of girl that enjoyed, going and hanging with my friends. Like I had a social life that has been shut down, and so much of my personality, even down to, and I know this may sound petty for a lot of people, but like fashion, like I have not been able to really justify actually getting really nicely dressed for real this at all this year, and that has impacted me. I didn't realize how much I enjoyed the process of, as of that. That's even if it not necessarily even that it required that I put on a lot of hair or makeup or anything, but just the idea of getting out, getting dressed up to go to do something. I missed that, and that contributed to some depression this year. So I'm grateful that I overcame that. I overcame, and I know, and I won't say overcame because that's not true. I'm still dealing with it. I'm a little bit depressed today. I want to be authentic. I'm glad that I am persevering through depression. I am glad that I have a blessed life. I'm glad for our sisterhood. I'm glad for all of my sisters. This year has been one of the most interesting years of my life, in the sense that the people, if you were to ask me 5 years ago, the people that would be around me in like a crisis of the world, who the people I'll be talking to, what we will be talking about, it is not at all the people that actually who have been the rocks and the people that I lean on now for support. And the list of people is so small, in fact, that it is gagging. It is gagging. Um, I want to say that I am grateful for what this sisterhood has birthed, and that this podcast, I feel like it's something that is going to have a legacy that is long lasting. As we were talking, I want to give a shout out to one of our listeners. And my phone just died, but I believe his name was Thomas Pearson, if I'm not mistaken. He hit me up on my Facebook page to say, "Hey, thanks for the ad. I love your podcast. I really enjoy it when I'm cleaning up." I don't know so I guess he cleans at home or whatever, and he listens. So that just is another affirmation for me that we're doing something that I think is going to bear great fruit. Um, I think managing transitions and losses has been a theme for this year. I did lose a family member. Shout out to my Uncle Mike, Uncle Michael Lee. That's my husband's uncle, somebody that in his side of the family was the first elder of the family to really, really embrace me. And he's someone that will always have a dear, dear place in my heart. And his death was very sudden. And like everyone this year, we're reeling and we're trying to figure out how to put the pieces back together of what was a family that was starting to come together. And that's ironically how it often happens. So often when families are just starting to get their flow going, that then shit pops off. So I just want to send him deep love and support. I also want to say that I just want to thank the community podcast. I'm grateful for those people that we've collaborated with this year. Shout out to all of the podcasts we've done mashups with. This is the first time I've done what I've done for quite a while now, but I've done it in a vacuum. I've done it by myself. I've done it, kind of on panels or booking events or engagements or keynote speaking events. I've had my message, but just to align with someone like my sister Brianna, and then for us to be able to partner with so many other wonderful content creators is just a thing. It's an amazing thing. Going into this year, I was calling this the Harlem Renaissance. This is the roaring 20s for me of times. I feel like this is the new Harlem Renaissance in this country, and for Black people, we can still come out of this okay. I know that a lot of us have lost. I know that the infrastructure in a lot of places has been decimated. So this is not me being Pollyanna perfect, but for those of us that can, I think that this is a great time for us to try to be creative now that we aren't so focused on these jobs, now that we have other things. Life is short. And I think that's another thing. This year in personal growth, I've learned that life is short and I can't put off tomorrow what I want to do for today. I've learned that my friendships matter. I've learned that commitments matter. I've learned to be more disciplined in my scheduling. I still work with sometimes my timing, but I'm grateful that I have an opportunity to grow and I have people around me that are patient enough to watch and pardon my progress. And I'm last but certainly not least, I want to thank my family. I want to thank my parents. I want to thank my family, including all of my wonderful chosen family, and that includes you also, Brianna. And I want to thank my husband, my rock, my my calm in the storm. I often say that my life is a hurricane, and he's been the only man that's ever been able to walk through the hurricane and not flinch. There's been a lot of niggas that said they could do it and flinched. There's been a lot of niggas that looked at it and bitched out and couldn't even do it. There's been a lot of people that say that said they were gonna be with me forever and they only were there for selfish reasons and then they got the hell out of the hurricane because it was too rough. But I will say that this nigga has not flinched. And to me, that says a lot about his character as a man. That says a lot about who he is as a human. Nothing in life is perfect, but I will say that I am properly matched. And I do feel like we celebrated our decade anniversary this year. And I will be remiss if I did not tell him happy anniversary, my beloved husband. And I love you very, very, very much for everything, for everything, for everything. This has been one of the best 10 years of my life. It's the best decade of my life. And the babies. Shout out to Lady Carolina Evangelista Turner Mountbatten Windsor, my new doggy, my baby. I got you also this year. And I want to say, well, I didn't get you this year, but I literally watched you grow this year. We've gone through so much. And I just want to say, you are my baby. And I'm sorry that this is your going into your second year of life. And I'm so sorry, babes. But I love you, and I wish that I could take you to the dog park more. I wish that I could, do the puppy training and all of the things that I would want to do. But I've been doing the best I can, and I have a wonderful pet, and so I'm so grateful for her. And then last but certainly not least, um, Lady Cleopatra Leontine St. James Turner Onassis Rothschild Windsor Shaw Patel Ming Musa, my baby cat. I just want you to know I love you, darling. And I gave you, I got her years ago when I was homeless and didn't have anything. And and I lost everything right after I got her. And I always felt so bad. And when we were at our lowest, and I had her in a closet because that's where I was living. And I remember telling her, like, sis, like, because I used to, that she was like my little baby, but I would, be talking to her like a person. And I was like, girl, if you stick with me, I promise to God, I know this looks horrible, but I promise to God, if you stick with me, baby, if you stick with me, we going to the top and we're going to do, and this ain't going to be life. And I literally feel like she heard me and she just, she's been my rider and that cat has been through everything with me. So to know that she's an old lady now, and then I still had her through 2020. I think she's going into her 14th year this year. So I love my baby and I wanted to save her for last. And the reason why she has so many names is because I feel like because I adopted her in such dire circumstances and she was in such dire circumstances, I always felt like I would treat her like royalty. And every year I would give her a new last name. So that's why she has so many. So shout out to my babies and I love everybody. Thank you. And I'm grateful. So I'm going to go ahead and close us out. But before we go, we will be remiss if we did not give a shout out to the life and legacy of Monica Roberts. I want you to know that we love you and we're sorry that we've lost you this year. And I just want to take a brief 5-second moment of silence for those that we've lost this year. And then I will do our closing. Thank you for tuning in to the Lioness Still Lives podcast. Thank you for appreciating our first season. I am your illustrious co-host, the Lioness.
And I'm Aeon. Also, I did it. If you didn't check it out, I did an impromptu live with Diamond Style, with Marsha's Plate, but with Diamond Style. So make sure you guys go check it out. I was just bored and I got on there and my sister joined me and we had some bad girl talk. So make sure y'all check that out as well too.
All right. And thank you so much for your time. And what we would like for you to do before we go is to follow, and subscribe to us on all of our social media platforms. And also go to anchorfm.com and click on the donate page. And we would love it if you could support a Black trans business. This has been a great ride and we love you all. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Box Number 512 Podcast.
Grown Black Trans Woman Talk.
Don't forget to go to our Anchor page to become a monthly sponsor.
And also feel free to like, follow, and subscribe to us on all of our social media platforms.
And also, please don't forget to rate and review our podcast. Every comment matters.
And lastly, please follow and tune in for our live interactive Facebook show every Friday
on Facebook and YouTube. Until next time,
I'm the Lioness.
And I'm Aeon. Bye.